Just need a half a second. All right, we're going to rock on now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to call tonight's meeting to order. Before we get into it, Mr. Colburn told me that there is a time limit on tonight's meeting. He's got a very important speech he wants to hear tonight. All right. Reverend Hogue is here to give the invocation tonight. Would you come forward, sir, please? Jim Hogue. I got silly and got off my point here.
Well, I'm fashionably underdressed, and I did that for a reason, because I always dressed up, and I didn't think anybody listened to me. So tonight I underdressed, and I was hoping somebody would. So I didn't know what I was going to say. An hour ago, I got out of the pool after swimming my laps, and I knew what I was going to say. I don't know how many of you have pools, but I have a large one. And last night there was a big storm. And I spent the morning cleaning that thing out. It's pretty clean now. And the reason it's clean is because there's a filter system on it. And I thought about that and I said, you know, this pool would never get clean unless it has a filter system. Well, every time it gets dirty, the filter system takes care of it. A lot of stuff can go in there, but the filter takes it out, eventually. So I thought, that's great, because I like spending time in this pool. Well, I'm sure you all spend time in your pools. But there's another kind of pool that I thought about at the same time, and that's called a cesspool. Everything goes into that, but nothing goes out. There's nothing filtering that. Everything that goes in there dies, and it stinks. I've never seen anybody sitting around a cesspool and having beer. I see a lot of people doing that. What's the lesson? Well, if we're going to be swimming pools, we need filters. Now, if we can be cesspools, we don't need filters. The Word of God can filter you. If you need filtered, and we all do, because I got a lot of stuff going on in my life that I need stuff filtered out every day. The Word of God can filter it out. So spend time with God. Spend time with Him and let Him filter what's in there. Because I know that everyone in here would rather be a swimming pool than not a cesspool. Let's pray. Father, I thank you for being with us tonight, for everyone here, and for all the things that will be accomplished. So I thank you for giving us supervisors who can take care of county business for us. I thank you for their willingness to do this. I thank you for their wisdom, and I ask you to give them your wisdom as they make decisions. I ask you tonight to use this time so that they might make decisions on every issue that's brought before them. And I thank you for them serving our community. Now I ask you, Lord, to help us all to want to be swimming pools and not cesspools. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Jim. That was great. Now I ask you all to join us for the Pledge of Allegiance, if you would, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you all for that. Is there any amendments to the agenda before we ask for approval?
Mr. Chairman and board members, I'd like to remove J2. I've had a conversation with Mr. Van Norbeck of Blackstone. They want to remove that as of now. That's the Tobacco Commission funding. I'd like to add J7, if that's possible. You have, Mr. Andrew Kelly has put something beside you there, and that's a request from the town of Burkeville to waive the landfill fee on a project on Knott Hill, and I'll bring you up to speed when we get to that.
Okay. Anything else, board members? All right. Hearing none, I need a motion to approve the agenda.
I so move.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. We also need a motion to receive and adopt the minutes from our meeting held April 18th, 2024.
I so move that too.
All right. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, minutes are adopted, and we'll move on to delegations from the public. Mr. Sonny Abbott. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Mr. Bowen. Before I begin tonight, I'd like to publicly thank Mr. Bowen for giving up some of his time this morning, early afternoon, that he spent with me. I appreciate that. We talked about things that were of interest to him and to me. Yet tonight, I stand here not in a professional capacity in any way. I'm here as a resident of Nottoway County. So I'm going to ask a few questions and hopefully receive answers to help me better understand what steps are being taken to prevent the same situations that this board has been dealing with since taking office in January. I know I don't need to rehash those, so I won't. Is the $8 million that's in reserve adequate to fund what the government will require, and that we currently understand what the government will require, at the final closing of the current landfill for the next 30 or so years? When is it anticipated that the landfill will be full at its maximum, and is there a time frame to develop or to open the last cell so we're able to meet permitting and whatever other governmental requirements there are to open that last cell? Is there a long-range plan for the 80 acres that are adjacent to the current landfill? And is it possible to hear the status of plans to mitigate the impact of the Chief Judge's recent order? And can we be confident that a system has been put in place or reestablished or developed to properly monitor revenue receipts and expenses and align those items against the appropriate budget line item to better understand anything that changes in a positive or negative way? Again, I thank you. I thank Mr. Bowen specifically and the rest of you, but I appreciate your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Abbott, we'll get you these questions and get them emailed or get a phone call to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Your clerk has a copy of these words.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. All right, that'll do it for delegations for the public. We do not have any public hearings that I'm aware of.
No, sir, would be next month, it looks like. But
Okay, and no presentations. Okay, so the departmental reports, Ms. Deanna Bryant.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Board, Mr. Bowen. Just want to give you an update on the projects that we still have on the agenda. The Route 46 project is still ongoing. They did place some concrete in the abutment footers, still on schedule for a fall completion of 24. The R cut at Route 723 and 460 is still on schedule for advertisement in September of this year. The Darville's Roundabout, Route 40 and 750, that is still on schedule for right-of-way phase to begin this summer. That currently has an advertisement date of February 26th. The slurry seal schedule is finished. It's been a little while since they came to sweep and remove a lot of the loose gravel signs, so y'all are probably still seeing those there. But we don't have a date set yet for that contractor to return. He's doing a lot of work in other residencies as well. And the same thing with the chip seal schedule. We're still waiting for pavement marking and sweeping to be completed on that. The inquiry and the subsequent traffic engineering study for the raising the speed limit on Route 460 from 360 to the Prince Edward County line. That study is complete, and we expect to get a recommendation from traffic engineering in the next couple of months. I'm sorry, the next couple of weeks. I'm sorry. And whatever that recommendation is, we will present it to local law enforcement and state police. So hopefully that'll be good news. Currently, we're performing some site distance mowing on the secondaries and the primary routes. And just to keep it on the agenda, the October 26th Highway Heroes event at the Chesterfield Fairgrounds. It's a free event, open to the public, will be held rain or shine. So once we get a little closer to that and our flyers are done, I'll bring some of those with me so they can be handed out. And it's a really good event. I think people would enjoy that. So do you have anything for me?
Yes, Ms. Bryant, the only thing is if you could let us know when we spoke about the Little Creek Bridge there, when we could possibly, if we need to do a site visit out there, you know, with some of the citizens to talk about where the asphalt is a hard bump where it comes back onto that bridge there. If we need to meet, or myself or Steve, yes, I'm volunteering you if you don't mind, sir.
Yes, sir, that's right.
I can go out and take a look at it, and I'll let you know what I find and what we can do to remedy that
All right.
situation.
I greatly appreciate that. Thank you, ma'am.
Did we have any flooding that affected any overtopping of
We
the
had a
small
lot of
bridges?
trees down. We didn't have any overtopping of any bridges. We did have some quick water, but nothing that caused any significant issues. But we did have a lot of trees down, and our crews were out last night getting the trees out. I think everything went real well. Myself, we lost power for about 4 hours, but, you know, I was glad to see it when it popped back on, so.
I think y'all had Bible Road or Bible Way Road this morning, yeah. Yeah, I had a tree down early this morning up there around 8:30,
We had a
something
tree
like
all the
that.
way across. We had a lot of trees down, so.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate everything y'all do.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody have anything else, sir?
Mr. Chairman, while we got it here, if you don't mind, if we could just go off the agenda just a little bit, if we could go to, and then, because I go to J5, I think it is, yeah. If you look at J5, at the first page, I got all excited and signed something before I got y'all to approve it, and Ms. Kelly put the reins on me. And so, but this is this right away, this easement for that roundabout is very important, and Ms. Bryant had called me about it. And do you want to speak about that or anything, Ms. Bryant? But I need approval from board on a vote to sign that letter and send it on to.
Yeah, that was discussed early in the project with the previous county administrator, and I should have brought a copy of the email with me so I could give you additional details on that, which I can forward to you if you'd like to have that. But it's for the donation of the property there for the roundabout.
The roundabout, yeah.
Yeah, for the property that's owned by the county in that area.
Yeah, we had talked about it before in a previous meeting, and
Yeah, we had discussed it, and I'm sorry that I'm not a little more prepared to talk about it.
that's okay. But you need that letter, I understand, hopefully by tomorrow. Yesterday.
Yeah, we would like to go ahead and get it.
That's it right there.
Right here?
Yeah, and I got to change the date at the top.
I saw you that
I signed
second,
it, yeah.
okay.
All right, do we want to give him a chance to read that letter and then
I
move?
read it, but the
Okay.
date was the only question.
Okay, well, do y'all have any questions about the letter, or if you don't mind, we'll just give him a minute to glance over this real quick.
Thank you for going off the agenda, Mr. Chairman.
Leave it to me to go off something.
Put out my code, G.
Any questions anybody got?
Ms. Norton, did you have any questions about it?
No, letter looks self-explanatory, so I recommend that we allow Mr. Bowen to proceed.
Thank you.
You putting that in the form of a motion?
I'll put it in the form of a motion, yes, sir.
All right,
I'll second.
okay, all right, did you have any questions, Ms. Amy? Okay, all right, board members, we got a motion on the floor with a proper second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? There you have it.
I appreciate you doing that early.
Yes, ma'am. All right, Mr. Bowen, solid waste, you got anything on that?
Yeah, it's still the, and of course, Mr. Abbott, I appreciate him coming by the office too. We do get some good conversations about the landfill. I did have to meet with DEQ Monday. There was a discrepancy about it's two, and I think Mr. Toth had come in there with me, and maybe y'all seen it. You remember those 2 posts that's indicators that showed that you're getting too much leachate in it that goes past that last post, you have trouble. And it was a little discrepancy of is the liner in it 6 inches on the last post before you get to the post, or 6 inches after the post. And so they had DEQ out there, myself, Gary, and TRC. And so it's no problem. We just got to have that post in the right place. And it's only 6 inches. Don't sound like much, but when it comes to gallons of water, leachate is a lot. But anyway, we may have to change our erosion settlement plan a little bit to make sure we got the 6 inches right described in that erosion settlement plan. But other than that, it's been dry. But of course, we got some heavy rains this evening and the other day.
Praise the Lord.
But anyway,
Is there a time frame we need to have this completed?
no. The one thing I did talk to DEQ, and I know we're looking about tipping stations, and Mr. Evan and I had that conversation. He said that leachate pond is still ours for 30-some, 35 years. So that's still something we got to deal with. But
Right.
I just
I think
want,
once you cap, I think your volume.
it slows. That's right.
Way down.
Yeah, once you cap it, that's right.
So just extra expense that we don't have to put out.
Okay, but anyway, just wanted, that's my report for that.
Okay. Building inspections report?
None, he's here for another purpose.
Okay, all right.
We'll get to it in a minute.
All right, well, y'all have the other departmental reports in your package. Was there anything from the school board? Okay.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, and Mr. Bowen. Dr. Grimes was unable to be here this evening, and she asked for me to share a couple of items with you. We look forward to the joint board tour of the school facilities on Tuesday of this week, and we were asked to remind you that we're meeting at the high school to catch the bus at 1:20, so we can start promptly at 1:30 on Tuesday. Summer school finished today. It actually was the last day, and we had approximately 150 students attending each day during summer school. As shared with you previously, we're gearing up, of course, for a new school year. I think we're about a month away and a few days from the start of our students coming back. But we have a couple of events that we would love for the board to participate in if they're able to join us. Our back-to-school convocation is on August the 12th at 1 p.m. in the main auditorium. Lunch is before that at 12, and we would love for you to join us for that. And our annual, I think it's the 3rd annual this year, back-to-school parking lot party is on August the 12th as well at 5 p.m. at the school complex. And all of our families from across the county come together for that. We've had great turnout every year. It's a great event for our students to welcome them back, so we would love for you to join us for both of those.
Yeah.
Is there anything for us?
You said convocation was 1 p.m.?
1 p.m. at the main auditorium. Lunch before that.
And Tuesday, catch your bus, that's a change in plans. Now, we were supposed to meet at the primary school.
Right, well, so I said I was going to text, and they don't know that, but, so, and some of the board members, they don't know. So, Mr. Rourke and Mr. Toth and I have a meeting with the sheriff at 10:30 to talk about dispatching and that type thing. And then what we were going to do is try to grab some lunch and then be at the Blackstone primary at 1:30.
Different than the others,
Because
okay.
we're going to be at Blackstone.
Okay.
And then we'll come back with you and then get on the bus here at the complex or whatever. So that was, you don't know that, and I didn't realize that that some of the plans had changed too. So rest of the other board members, y'all can catch the bus or however you want to do it.
I'm gonna be in Richmond.
That's right, you're not going
Sorry
to make
about
it. You
that.
did tell me that at last.
So we always tell our students to get to the bus stop about 5 minutes ahead of schedule.
You hear
so
that,
the
Miss
bus
Norton?
doesn't leave you. So.
All right.
My neighbor's not driving that bus, is he?
I'm sorry?
Is my neighbor driving the bus, Mr. Rash?
I don't believe so. It's probably Jay.
Good.
Oh, it's Mr. Street. So buckle up.
All right.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Marcia.
The planning and economic development report. We have anything on that?
Yeah, Mr. Sodi.
If there's nothing, I have a few things to hand out. To y'all. First, I'm very proud of my planning commission and our liaison, Mr. Ingram. We did pass the bylaws of the Nottoway County Planning Commission. Tuesday night, and I think that helps us get the, I like order. I brought copies for each of you.
I've got mine.
Thank you, sir. Secondly, I wanted to give you kind of a fact sheet from Civil War Trails. They're aligned with the committee, Virginia Crossroads, that I chair, excuse me. And I wanted to hand that out to you to kind of give you an idea of what historic sites mean in terms of economic development. So I'll start this way.
All right, sir.
That's just for your reading. Right now, I'm working on updating our website along with all of the 12 other members in our region. Lastly, I not dispersed, but I distributed copies of the solar energy to the Planning Commission. And the Planning Commission had a few comments, but nothing really major. Supervisor Ingram and I did talk about our concern about some potential issues coming down the pike that we addressed at our work session Monday night, and that was future development of land to circumvent the 5 megawatts or 50 acres or greater than 5 megawatts. So I wanted to pass out a copy of this ordinance to you all that incorporates the suggestions made by Vice Chair Collins.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Greg. That's yours. I believe that's yours. I accidentally got it.
And one of the things, and Mr. Ingram, I think, correctly pointed out that we have, I think there's a few more things we need to touch on. My opinion as planning director is that with regards to the solar, that one of the things that Mr. Ingram suggested was that we look at other counties, namely Amelia, to see how far of a distance should separate that. And I pulled the chapter 325 from the Amelia County Code, and it does address that. And it also gives alternatives to setbacks. It's not just 800 feet. It might start, I think it starts off like 150 feet, and then there's about 4 or 5 different alternatives you can use, like opaque fencing, things like that. And it really, as Mr. Collins edits, it addresses those in terms of what's the topography like in the area, because all sites are not going to be the same. And so I think we need to treat them uniquely and give them the same 37 considerations that are in our special exception rules. So with that, that's all I had for you all. And
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Zodi.
welcome,
Appreciate
sir.
that.
I have one thing for Mr. Zodi.
Okay.
So we're going back, we're looking at it again. Let's have a date, because I know there's some folks here that are interested in solar. Let's have a date.
No, I thought we might take it, instead of going to public hearing in August, perhaps discuss it at the work session in August, and I'm sure your work session in August is already backed up, but I figure that might be good.
And then when carrying it to public hearing then? September?
I would just need to have adequate time to advertise.
Which would be September, I believe.
Yeah, and I'll be out of town that week. That wasn't intentional, but I will be out of town, so.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So work session, August, another hearing.
Yes.
So the goal, work session August and public hearing and get something done in September.
That's it?
Right. And what I'd like to try to do is we need to update our ordinance, not just for a solar ordinance if we choose to adopt it, but we also have to identify it in each of the, in A1, C1, LI, and GI, light industrial, general industrial, conservation, and agricultural, but we have to have those incorporated in there.
So will all that be ready for September?
Yes, sir. I'm actually, and I was going to wrap up with that I am making significant progress in my zoning ordinance review. It's just, I'm getting there.
Okay.
But I've already included that in the districts, in the appropriate districts. So I can bring that, but I also have other changes, but I can just isolate it to just the solar at this time. Because I want, as y'all know, I want to get rid of a lot of special exception items.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome,
So
sir.
when we do that public hearing, Mr. Chairman, board members, we just need to be very clear of what changes we made. So the public, the other stuff that we have already agreed upon is one thing, but we really need to highlight that.
Right.
All right, so we can put those bullet points If not in the advertisement itself, on our Facebook page and the county's website.
Yes, sir. And I've already
And it had the-
posted this draft on the website.
Okay, and
He's
then,
got it highlighted, so you can
Okay.
see.
Yeah, it's blue.
Because we're changing words and
That's right.
sentences.
Right.
So they do need to be
Yeah.
clear what's changed.
even if we got to the day of the public hearing, we can do those, a couple of bullet points and have them available.
Certainly.
For the public. as they
Yeah,
come
and we
in.
can discuss a little bit more precision about what we want, but what we want to show and
Sure.
everything. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. You're welcome. All right, I do not see Buddy, but by the way, I don't know, that poor man,
I know. And
they had a mess down at Walmart parking lot on Tuesday.
That's right.
And then yesterday, as that storm hit, they had a tractor trailer turned over.
Right, and then Buddy's vehicle
Oh, yeah.
overheated, and we had to tow that back out.
Yeah,
So we
so-
just had one thing
Did,
after
I
another.
want to know, did he ride the wrecker home?
He rode the wrecker. When I was talking to him on the phone, he was in the wrecker.
That's right, he sent me a picture.
Right, right.
Yeah, he had the big mirror on it in his picture. That's great.
Anyway, but we got to figure out about that vehicle. We'll figure it out. Maybe the sheriff will give him one.
All right, Mr. Collins,
That vehicle just had a bunch of money lettering put on it, didn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
A couple thousand.
all right, Mr. Collins, the jail authority update, anything?
We're running about 150 federal inmates. They've submitted per diem. The per diem increase, it's gonna be 105. Cost is 75 right now.
Yeah, something like that.
Maybe 79. I think it was 79 the other day. And then we did receive some of our VCBR money, but it is not in total what we're owed, so we're still owed from past fiscal year, $192,928. And that's for VCBR residents who end up at the jail as a prisoner.
So initially, I believe like last month, it was almost $400,000 or something, is that right?
Correct. So we got our 215 reimbursement from the state, which was in the state budget.
Right.
July 1st budget. So we got our 215, but we're owed, we spent 410.
Yes.
Right.
So we're asking, Delegate Lee Ware's aware, Senator Mulkey's aware. So we're working on it.
Good deal. All right. And do we have anything on the LRA, Mr. Bowen?
No, sir. We this week the one thing is we are going to the timber consultant has been awarded, and we are setting up a meeting next week to kick off what do we need to do next.
Good deal.
So that should be somewhere like next Thursday.
All
So
right.
you've awarded the timber
Yes,
consultant?
yeah, and yeah. It turned out to be Mr. Brandon Martin.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, Constitutional Officer, Sheriff, do you have anything, sir? Okay. I don't see any of the others here. Unfinished business, the animal shelter update. Mr. Ingram.
Well, everybody knows Saturday is a big event for Nottoway Cares. We met first Wednesday of the month, whatever day that was. I lose track, all these meetings, anyway. And they've really got a great program set up. Dr. Carr and one of her assistants is going to be, doing chips for animals. I think she's charging 20, I think, and it costs a whole lot more than that. So
Oh, yeah.
she's real happy about that. They've got artwork that they're auctioning off. One is a gentleman originally from the county, Wayne Chambers. He sent in some watercolors, and also Mr. Elridge Bagley has donated a couple of prints, I think. So they've got that. They've got amazing raffle prizes. They've got 3 or 4 stays at hotels in the area in Farmville, and also out at Sandy River. They've got some of those. They're going to have food items. They're going to have a groomer there. They're going to have, it's unbelievable what they've done. And hopefully everybody get a chance to come. I think it's running from 11 to 2 or 3. Hopefully the weather will hold out. I looked at the weather today and it didn't look too good for Saturday, but got my fingers crossed it'll go. Mr. Mike Gentry addressed the group and said that, I think, Steve, you were with him when he met with the architect.
Yes,
Came
that's
in
right.
and looked at the building, and the architect said the building is doable, it can be done. So that's a real relief to hear that. A couple other things, that have got to be worked out, but Burkeville's been in a little turmoil the last couple of weeks. So they've got a new mayor now, I think, and hopefully we'll get to move, on that. But the CARES committee is really excited about what they're going to get done, and if you look at their funds they've raised, it's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
And they're hoping to make a whole lot more Saturday. So I hope everybody get a chance to come by for a little while anyway.
There you go. All right, well, thank you.
Chairman?
Yes, sir.
We've not addressed something Ms. Norton brought up, and that was being able to accept donations under the Code of Virginia.
Right.
I'd like to put that on new business for next.
All right, yes, we'll have that we'll put it on the unfinished business.
We'll put it under unfinished?
Okay.
Okay.
For the next board meeting.
We're getting to where we might start spending some money.
So, Mr. Chairman, if we would, on that same subject, and I'll make sure that's on there, and so this is probably a good time to do that. As you can see in J4, that's a county attorney agreement confirmation. We do have here tonight Mr. Gary Elder and Catherine Douglas, and Mr. Elder and his firm is our new county attorney that started July 1st. And Mr. Elder, I sent him an email. I said, can you help me get this landed plane with this this building with Jack Boswell's? I'm scared Jack Boswell will get mad and run off on it. So, but anyway, Mr. Elder, do you know where that stands now? As far as I know, you had met with Mr. Boswell and got your signature, I believe. Somebody got your signature?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll sign it.
Don't scare me, John.
Well, first off, I'll just say it's nice to meet all of you. We're glad to be here. Catherine Douglas is here with me, and Catherine and I have both been plugging away at some of the items that have been sent to us by Mr. Bowen, so we appreciate the opportunity to be here and to work with all of you. As far as the question that you've asked about that contract, the contract is fully executed, and I would anticipate there are a couple minor little issues that need to be resolved with the deed. There's some restrictions on that property that need to be addressed. There's already been one piece out of that subdivision that's been conveyed, and essentially when that first piece was conveyed, we had to release some restrictions and covenants that applied to that. We're gonna have to do the same thing for this lot, but I'm anticipating today is July, 18th? Mm-hmm. I would think that this would close by the end of this month.
Okay.
That's
Great
our
news.
anticipation.
Okay.
So, I always put out the caveat, you never know when you might run into a hiccup, but that's the timeline we think is most likely.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Elder.
Thank you, Ms. L. All right, well, you got the note for the ordinance to be able to do the donations for next month on the unfinished business.
Yeah.
All right, the reassessment time frame.
Mr. Chairman, if you look in your board package, that's the Code of Virginia, and I'm glad Mr. Elder's here with that too, but it looks like that we could just vote for, it looks like that we could, see, our reassessment time frame now is every 6 years. It looks like you can change it to every 4 years. But I think, in my opinion, and I may be wrong, and Mr. Elder and Mr. Douglas can speak up on this subject, but I feel like it's healthy to have a public hearing. And I was asking to see if we change to 4 years, if you could give me the go-ahead, and if it's okay, to get approval to advertise for a public hearing in August. But if that's what the pleasure of the board is, we did hear comments during the budget process that people really spoke up and said 6 years was shell shock, and the way the economy changes and that type thing, 4 years might be more. And I think Ms. Norton, you pulled some information about so many other counties. Very few counties do 6 years now, right?
The last FACO meeting I went to last month, pretty much the entire state goes, or is moving to 4 years.
All right, well, board members, I need a motion to allow the county administrator to appropriately advertise for a public hearing to move the reassessment to 4 years.
I so move.
Second.
All right, that went quick. I think it's consensus of the board pretty quick. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? There you go, Mr.
All right.
Bowen, have that. Okay, the blight ordinance.
Let's see, I had a note here to read, I-3. Y'all hold on for a minute to get Ms. Douglas, who is here with us tonight, with Mr. Elder, tell me, Ms. Douglas, it was, we needed, I wrote it down here, real estate tax abatement program, is that right?
Yes, sir. The provision that you all, or the ordinance that you all wanting to adopt is almost taken verbatim from the state code. And the state code requires that you can adopt that ordinance. I don't have the ordinance section number or the section number in front of me.
That's right.
But it requires that you have a real estate tax abatement system in place before you can adopt what you're seeking to adopt. So that's something I'm looking into. We're looking into. We haven't gotten there yet, but we're certainly willing to help.
All right, so I don't want to be presumptive, but is it possible to adopt the abatement and the blight ordinance at the same meeting? Or is there a time frame in between?
I haven't seen it where a time frame is technically required. I wouldn't see why it would be an issue. I think that's something we would look into.
I don't see why you couldn't do that.
Yeah, but there's nothing in the state code that says that to my knowledge. So I think that would be fine. But that's something we would need to do
Right.
regardless.
I think too that through our work sessions, and I know we're just starting a relationship with them, and I haven't got a chance to talk to Ms. Douglas about this, but I think the board in the last work session, the expectation was hoping to be able to have a public hearing in August, but I don't know if that's possible or not. You know, I don't know.
I mean, we would have to draft an ordinance by then.
Right.
It would have to
pretty
be
tight.
Approved, it would be tight.
Okay.
I say we could maybe talk about it in a work session, maybe, but it would be hard for us to turn that around.
But the real estate tax abatement program ordinance needs to be pretty much first before you do the blight ordinance. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, but I
Okay.
think you could adopt them at the same time.
Yeah, gotcha.
As long as you have one in place.
Okay.
Those
All
are
right.
just the requirements of the state.
All right, and I guess if we could then look at possibly September.
Yeah, I think that would be fine.
Okay.
And like I said, we were happy to help with doing that. I've already planned to do that. So.
And we love dates, you know, we
Who
love
doesn't?
dates, we love being able to have something of substance to
Yeah.
share with the citizens
goal.
and let us know what we're doing. I appreciate that, all right.
Well, we'll work on it, and if it needs to be pushed back, we'll let you know.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. All right, new business, the performance agreement with Blackstone.
Mr. Chairman, the,
I don't know. I didn't know if you were going to want me to talk about it.
oh, yeah, I'd rather you go before Philip, because, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. But the board was very, right. The board was very,
We just assume everybody knows you, man. I mean, it's,
I'm glad the board did say get the lawyers to look at it, you know.
Ladies and gentlemen, there is an agreement that, probably in your packet, I think it was handed out today. We were much gnashing of teeth and back and forth with the state, Ms. Douglas, our attorney. There were a couple changes that were made to the agreement. One of them was brought to our attention by Ms. Douglas about responsibilities to make up for any shortfall. And the original agreement that the state had produced says the town and the county. We've never asked you to do that, and the agreement before you says the town of Blackstone, or the locality, I think is how we described in the agreement. So the town of Blackstone is on the hook. If this doesn't work out, the only thing you guys were asked, and the only thing you agreed to, was $37,200 worth of machinery and tools abatement, if performance happens. If the gentleman doesn't purchase or install or create that much revenue-generating machinery, then obviously you guys don't have to do any more. And if that doesn't happen, you read the agreement, there's still a $97,200 obligation. Any shortfalls are the town of Blackstone, okay?
okay.
That's the town of Blackstone. So your risk is the machinery and tools in the agreement. And I think our attorney also asked today to change another topic in regards to the town of Blackstone being clearly shown as the locality that's providing the local effort. So
Okay, instead of just state and locality, it was state, town of Blackstone?
I don't know if it actually says, I think they still refer to locality in there.
Okay.
But the town of Blackstone, if you look at the front page, it's clearly described as the locality. Nottoway County is not
Yes, yeah,
described as locality.
quote unquote, the locality, yes.
And for those of you who don't know, this is the final piece to put together. for an incentive package through the Governor's Opportunity Fund, or what used to be the Governor's, I think they just call it Opportunity Fund now. The state of Virginia is going to provide $125,000 in cash incentives to the gentleman if he performed. $25,000 worth of job training, job placement assistance, plus the incentives that we discussed. The town of Blackstone's putting up $40,000 of, we've already spent an appreciable amount putting the fire line in.
Right.
And then we'll have to do some electrical upgrades because it is on the town of Blackstone's electric system. And you guys have the machinery and tools, and there's also a $20,000 incentive provided by the Tobacco Commission, which is $10,000 grant, $10,000 loan, and that will be accepted as well. So
Okay.
I don't think you guys necessarily are part of that agreement.
Okay.
Okay, but if something happens and he doesn't make
Phone?
$37,000, we've got to figure out what we're doing to fix that.
Okay. Well, we appreciate the clarification. Is there anybody needing clarification from the attorneys or anything else from Mr. Van Norbert? All right,
Thank you, sir.
do we, so we need a motion to adopt this with the amendments presented tonight, is that correct?
Yeah, and give me the authority to sign it.
All right, so board members, you hear we need a motion to adopt.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All right, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, on to J3, the ADA coordinator designation. Mr. Bowen, Mr. Bowles?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman and board members, we have our county inspector here. I call him inspector, but he's bigger than that. But anyway, he's here, Nicholas. One thing I had mentioned to y'all when I first got on board, and Nick brought it to my attention, we need an ADA coordinator, and the information is in your package. I have, and one thing too you need to know, and congratulations, I've mentioned that before, Nick got his certification as a building official, and also I'm sending him to start working on trying to take the test for the ENS settlement so we don't depend on Prince Edward County, which they've been very gracious helping us with that. And then this is another duty added on too as far as this ADA coordination, a coordinator. To do this is a process, and Nick might want to speak to it, and we'll kind of bounce off each other. But the first step, when him and I met, you need to designate a coordinator, and that's what I'm asking tonight. And then we have to adopt a grievance procedure, and then if you have 50 or more employees, you have to do a self-assessment, a self-evaluation of the complex, like what needs to be done, what should be done. Then you do a plan, and then you do a transitional plan to show, hey, this is priority 1, priority 2, that type thing. So this actually this had already been done. In fact, Piedmont Hospital, we had an ADA coordinator there. I don't know, Nick, when did that rule? Is that help me out there? 1990. Okay, we're a little bit late.
All right, so right now, then you need a motion granting you the authority to designate Nicholas as the ADA coordinator designee. Is that correct?
That's correct. Right, Nick? Am I saying that right? Yes.
Will that apply to the town as well?
That's something to be discussed. I'd be happy to have a conversation with you.
Clearly, I'm sure we're a 1990 era EDA compliant community as well.
Okay.
I think Mr. Elder's gonna run. He's gonna run that corner. Don't make him stay there.
Yeah.
So you need a motion to.
Yes, sir. Yes. We need a motion to allow Mr. Bowles to be appointed as the ADA coordinator.
You mean Mr. Bowles?
Bowles,
Yeah, Bowles.
yes.
Yeah, I thought. All right, I also move that we appoint Mr. Bowles as the ADA coordinator.
I'll second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
And
All right.
you'll probably see that's gonna be part of our agenda in the future sometime, so you'll know what's going on.
Yes, sir. All right, the county attorney agreement confirmation.
Yeah, that's in your package. Mr. Elder is here, and y'all got any questions? But I think I shocked him. I hugged him when he came in the door, but I guess I probably should have hugged Catherine, not you, but I don't know.
All right, then, well, we've already taken care of J5. So anything else on the library appointments? Was there anything? I don't think there was anything else on that. I think we left that on there in case others became available that were receptive to joining that, if I remember correctly.
Is that right? Okay. Is that, Miss Douglas, I'm sorry, Miss Kelly, is that right?
Actually, Colonel Leslie and Myrna Rhodes are expiring, so they were both agreeable to serve again if the board wants.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that didn't sound right.
All right.
Are we gonna make those appointments tonight?
Yeah,
Ms.
well,
Rhodes
yeah.
is in my district, I do believe, and it's my wishes that she stay on it.
And who's that?
Verna Rhodes.
Ms. Rhodes.
All right, do you want to make your motion as, do y'all want to make this as one motion or two motions?
Just we'll do it as one, be less to deal with.
All right, so your motion will be to reappoint Verna Rhodes and Carolyn Leslie, is that correct?
That's correct, that's my motion.
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the Burkeville request, Mr. Bowen.
Mr. Chairman and board members, in front of you, you got from, I guess now he's ex-mayor Edward Graham is asking a request to let me read it off here. Absorb the costs associated with process usually, but basically asking us to waive the landfill fees. So I had a conversation this morning with the chairman and vice chairman. So I went out there to look at the situation, and I'm glad Mr. Bowles is here tonight too. So him and I had this conversation today, and I know we're going to get in this blight ordinance. So the question came up through our conversation is, why can't we the landfill fees? Why can't we make the landowner responsible for that? Don't waive it. Why can't we do that? What the town of Burkeville is going through, and I see Blackstone has already left here, Philip, and I don't know what they go. So the people who own that property, and it's a house with a hole in it, and it's falling down, and it's the people live in like New Jersey. They put a lien on the house, on the property, and they've done this before, put a lien on property, and 5 years later they still haven't recouped anything. So it's small.
Who do you speak of as they put a lien on the property?
The town of Burkeville.
Okay.
So the problem is, I mean, I think that these towns with small budgets and small towns, the problem is they put a lien on, if it was 30 acres, you got something. But if you just got one little piece of land with a house on it, they are pretty much in the red, and it's worth more than that property is. I mean, I can't explain
The destruction of it would be worth more than what the lot value is.
Right, that's what, right. And so they already got one, so I talked to Mike Gentry a regular while about it, and he said, hey, they got another piece of property. He said, I don't even know if we're going to do this again because we're going in, it's taking money out of our pockets.
Couldn't they suggest, Mr. Eller, that the town of Burkeville be auctioned off and the winning bidder has so many months to demolish the house and clean it up? Let that liability be upon somebody else?
I don't know if you can do that. So the Virginia Code kind of lays out how you have to do this. There's a process if you want to demolish a house. Generally, what I like to do is I like to get circuit court approval before we do it. In a lot of these houses, you're already going to have liens. So you got to figure out what spot you get in line. But what Mr. Bowen is saying is sometimes true. Sometimes the cost of demolition might outweigh the value of the lot. Now, there are some interesting ways that you can deal with this. Virginia actually the Virginia legislature just passed a statute that actually allows for some creative mechanisms to deal with this exact problem. They're complicated and they're a little weird, so I ought to be a little better versed before I try to explain them to you. But essentially, the Virginia legislature has authorized localities to utilize what are called land banks.
Yes.
If y'all are familiar with that, okay. And there is one company that I'm aware of in Virginia now that's doing this, and it basically, what it does is it's a way to try to alleviate some of that burden on the locality in terms of having to shell out the money. The land bank basically can be appointed by the court. They can take over and they can do all the demolition and the rehab if needed, and then they try to sell the property. So there are some ways to get around this, but yeah, especially for small towns, what Mr. Bowen's saying is 100% right. Sometimes it's it's not even financially worth it to try to get rid of derelict properties.
Right.
All right, board members, just a quick question. Would y'all be interested in seeing, for the most part, if we would waive it unless they're able to recover cost through the sale of the property?
Well, we've got to treat everyone the same, and I don't believe Blackstone's had their landfill's fees waived. I know there's been some expense out there at the new animal shelter building, and I believe that trading is appropriate, but not free,
Right.
because we haven't done that with the other localities.
Yeah, Mr. Gentry did say that, you know, they would cut the grass, you know, out there on the property we own, and for an in-kind match, if y'all were willing to do that, you know.
Just to be above board, should we get all this in right, just a memorandum of understanding? Just get an MOU?
Yeah, we can do that.
Just get an MOU, memorandum of understanding?
But so it's a possibility, would you approve the waive if we do some type of,
Like exchangement, you mean?
Yeah.
Like net labor?
Yeah.
But the question still lies is that if you waive it and it goes, so who's gonna clean it up? They want to.
Oh, we're just waiving the landfill.
I understand, but who is gonna clean it up? Who's gonna acquire it to clean it up? What about if there's 3 liens against the property already? And this thing strings out for 2 years, how long are we gonna waive it? How long is our agreement gonna be for?
I didn't get it, and of course, I shouldn't assume anything. I'm assuming that the town of Burkeville was gonna tear that thing down and.
They gotta have rights to it. What about if Benchmark Bank is first lien?
Well, evidently, they've got a property that they've done this to.
So they've already researched the deed now?
Yeah, but they must have, because they got.
So must we put a time frame in there or not?
Do y'all want to put a 6-month time frame on it? To waive any?
Because the grass that they're gonna cut for us in exchange for it ain't gonna be grown in December. I mean, I'm being.
Yeah, well, right.
6 months, I'd say 6 months is reasonable.
Now, do you need a motion on that since we're getting the MOU, or just wait till we get the MOU and have the
They
consensus?
get the MOU first.
Yeah,
Okay, I'll work on it, guys.
okay, all right.
It sounds like maybe some of the small towns haven't gone beyond possession and demolition, whereas I know that Blackstone is using the workforce housing.
That's right.
And so they've got the obvious blight. Theirs is, you can see the interior from the exterior, you can see through the roof, through the windows. They go through the process, they tear the property down, and then they sell it to they give it to workforce housing for redevelopment. And they've got some Virginia housing money that they use to build a new affordable home.
I think that's after they've located approved eligible buyer, correct?
They have an approved buyer.
Right.
Local person. And then that person gets their financing, their FHA or their VHDA financing, buys the home, and that's when everybody gets their money back.
Well, and since they've been in quite a bit of turmoil, I think it's more than appropriate to send them that information for that, and also, like Mr. Elder was speaking about the land banks
So
and
the
stuff.
idea that the existing 100 by 200 lot is not enough is correct. But the existing 100 by 200 lot with a brand new home on it,
Then it becomes more than
then
that.
you're able to recoup. You're not making making any revenue, but you're able to put the money back, and then you can do another. I think they've done, and they did some through the CRC. There was some money that helped them get started. And they've done 4 or 5, and it's tearing down derelict structure inside the neighborhood. And guess what? That neighborhood that they've done 2 or 3 in now, some developers went in there and started working on the rest of them.
That's a good thing.
And then it gets a new and better structure on the tax roll.
Yeah, it's helping somebody, and it gets it, like you said, back on the tax roll.
Okay. All right, well, I need a motion to approve the consent items that are in your package, okay, 1 through 4. Anybody want to make a motion on that?
Make a motion that we approve those in the packet.
Okay. We have a motion to approve the consent items. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, your informational and correspondence items are in your packet. If you have no questions or any items are there, then we'll move on to the county administrator's report.
All right. Mr. Chairman, I would like to let the public know that if you look at L13, the ceremony for Luther Foster High School historical marker. It's up and it's covered up there at the school, and that's Saturday at noon. And my understanding is you were speaking, and they had to find somebody that maybe a little older, and Mr. Ingram, I give
More older, smarter, more attractive.
Anyway, but Miss Branch has done a fine job of getting that together, and I think it's going to be a good ceremony, and I'm going to try to get up myself to watch that unveil. So,
Get in touch with Ms. Branch and try to get more details so I know exactly what she's got planned.
And before I do the county administrator report, I was writing notes over here, so excuse me, Mr. Chairman. Did we approve both of these library board trustees? We did,
Yes.
okay, just make sure. All right, going on the report, tomorrow we have a meeting with about possible another change in health insurance. Mr. Ingram mentioned about the health insurance before, and that's always just been hard to have a policy that everybody suits everybody. So anyway, we're going to hear what they got to say. I think the health insurance for the school is different than our health insurance,
Yes.
from my understanding. I have a meeting with Mr. Elder there and Ms. Douglas. We talked about the courthouse complex. I need to, and I just had a brief conversation before this meeting, and Mr. Elder made a good point. He needs to know what have we done so far. What is Judge Teefee asking? And I think we did a space use evaluation a while back. I need to get that information to him before that process. And my understanding is, Mr. Elder, tell me if I'm right or wrong, they'll appoint a judge or lawyer for represent the Commonwealth attorney. Is that the Commonwealth? Excuse me.
So there'll be a lawyer appointed to represent the Commonwealth in this proceeding, and that's essentially who we'll be dealing with and negotiating with and working with.
Okay.
Have you ever had an experience with? I know you mentioned Cumberland. Is Cumberland in this situation right now? So
It's probably happening there. Most courthouses that I practice in the last, I'd say in the 10th Judicial Circuit, in the last decade, we've probably had 4 of them that have been either rebuilt or renovated. So this is something that's sweeping through a lot of communities in Virginia, especially right now, Southside Virginia. So Nottoway, it just appeared, was next on the list.
Okay.
all right, thank you. Okay. And then the Finance Committee will meet next week. You guys, the board had asked us to start looking at things that we think we can make improvements to, and the Finance Committee, this is going to be one like when somebody wants to rent a dumpster. Dawn has made a good policy come up in the office. They do the pickup fees right off the. In other words, they charge you for the pickup fee because you got to pick it up. Because they find out not everybody will pay. They won't pay to pick up. But anyway, right, that's right. Yeah. So the other thing, the debit cards, the charge, we are absorbing all the cost of that. The county is. That's not given to the people who are using the debit card. So that's another. I mean, we don't know how much money we've lost over the years of that. So anyway, but the Finance Committee is going to take a look at that, and that's a question, and I know this might be a question I'm going to give to Mr. Elder later. So the percentage, it's a fee there, but when you start charging to the citizens, does that have to have a public hearing? It's not a new fee. We just absorb. You know what I'm saying?
You're just changing your POS system is what it is.
Did they just pass some,
It's under the Code of Virginia. It can be up to 4%.
that we can recapture?
Yes.
Because we charged, I know when we had the store, it was 1.9%
So
of whatever
the
the purchase was at the time.
restaurants in town, a lot of them have gone to this. So you buy your $10 lunch,
They charge you 3%.
charge 3%.
Right.
Pay cash,
They don't charge you anything.
charges is
That's right.
The system that we just looked at for something private was only credit cards are charged. Debit cards and cash is no fees.
I think that's correct.
Yeah.
We had a little bit of training the other day, so.
Yeah, it's just a credit card. So if you use a credit card, that's whether you get it.
Cash and debit's the same, no charge.
That's right.
Visa.
Well, you certain you don't have that backwards, do you? Because there's a store I buy diesel fuel with, asked me not to put my PIN number in and run it as a debit to do it as credit. So if it costs them money, why wouldn't they want me to do it as debit? Unless it depends on what company they got.
Does
Yeah,
does it cost the company money on that side?
Yeah,
So
1.9% is what it used to cost us.
he's trying to put the fee on you.
No, he's saying he'd rather me run it as credit, he don't charge me anything.
I'll show you some paperwork.
But if I run it as
There's some
debit,
code, there's Virginia
Just
code.
got it.
okay, maybe I'll just share that information
You
with
may
him and he
need
comes
to add
in.
it to our accounting policies.
Okay, okay. But we'll talk about it in the finance committee, okay.
Whoever owns the businesses have being charged by the
By the credit card company.
The other thing is, we are getting a board together for the Virginia Heartland Regional Economic Development Alliance. In fact, I think Mr. Elder is you're the lawyer for that group, that's right. So we're getting the board together and we're trying to, we want to start get the board first, and they're recommending part of the county administrator and then have an alternate. And then we're looking at maybe some from private partnerships too as well. Speaking of private partnerships, next week I have a meeting with, and I think Mr. Collins is going to try to come, and I'm hoping, I haven't got a chance to talk to Mr. Chairman Rourke about it yet, maybe I mentioned it, but Southside Electric Cooperative, the president is coming, to John Laurel, was I saying his name right, president, and Sheena, is it? What is
I think it's Jason Laurel.
Okay, I'm sorry. And George Feltz and Lucy Cook are coming to the, to discuss. And why is Southside Electric so important? Zodi was, him and I were having this conversation. You got to have power if you're going to bring in industrial development. And so that partnership is very important in what we're trying to do right there, especially at Pickett. So, and that's pretty much my report, sir.
Okay. All right, Mr. Collins, you got any comments, sir?
Just still looking for member of the Planning Commission for District 5. I've talked to several citizens, had not gotten any positive response, but any citizen out there that would like to participate, please reach out to me. wcollins@nottoway.org.
All right. All right, Mr. Engel, got anything, sir?
I talked a little bit about what Nottoway Cares is doing Saturday. I hope everybody gets an opportunity to come out and help them. And they really worked hard on this, and I'm looking for success on that. I'm looking forward to the Luther Foster presentation. I think that's going to be a great thing. It's I'm going to make some remarks at that, and one of the things I'm going to say is I was a senior in high school when we had the first integration in Nottoway County, and that was under what they call freedom of choice. And I happened to be the president of the SCA at Crew High School, and I stood up the opening convocation like the schools have now, and I stood up and looked, and there was a group in the back of black students. And I knew some of them, and some of them were my neighbors. And I really felt proud, that they had decided to, make that move. And so when I came back to start teaching school in 1970, y'all don't do any arithmetic.
We've already done that.
When I came back to teach school, it was the first year of total integration. And in the fall of 1970, 3 schools lost their name. Foster lost their name, became Nottoway Senior High. Crew High School became Crew Junior High, and Blackstone became Blackstone Junior High. And I'm really proud of the folks at the Luther Foster Association that they would work to get that marker up there, and I would hope sometime in the future that the folks at Blackstone High School and Crew High School could just put a marker there showing where it was. They're not there anymore. But that would be a great thing to have, It's history, and people need to understand the history of our county and to see how far we've come. And, we got a ways to go. We know that, but we've come a long ways, and I'm looking forward to that presentation on Saturday.
Okay. All right, good deal. Ms. Norton.
I want to give you a little update on PSR. We had a meeting the other night. I'm one of the representatives for Piedmont Senior Resource Area on Aging. And I'm real proud of them. They have come so far. They have a $3.5 million budget now, and Nottoway County is one of the highest users of their services. But I want to brag on them a little bit because Nikki Dean, thanks to her innovation, she's nutrition program manager, she and Justine were awarded the 2024 Innovative Award from the whole United States. They were the third place on achievement awards. What they had encountered was a lot of their users, when they would go out to feed them, they would miss the meal because they simply couldn't hear them. So Nikki developed a doorbell program, and they were able to purchase doorbells, put them in the houses, and after that, the significant increase on coming to the door to get their meal. But not only that, they were able to hear people come with their medication drop-offs and things like that. So since that transpired in less than a year, they have installed 124 doorbells, and they used funding from sources that were similar to grants. But they were recognized in the all over the United States, and we should be proud that we are involved and we support that agency. They want to put in future ones, so they are looking for people that are willing to be drivers and also willing to install doorbells. Also, I wanted to ask, y'all all know Arlene Robinson. She's a tough bird. She's on that committee with me, and she has started chemo, so she asked us to pray for her. But she was still at that meeting Tuesday night, and she and I are going to work together, and I'm going to start when she feels like it, giving her a ride so she can be there. But do ask for prayers for Arlene.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Norton. Mr. Toth?
Not really, don't have many comments, just that we've been a long ways, we got a long ways to go. I have heard very much support of the board. I've heard very little bit of folks who wishes to condemn us, and they seem to like to do that on a public forum rather than one-on-one, and I'm not sure quite why that is, but that's their choice. I don't go back and just sit easy and take it all, although I should. But and I don't even know who I'm talking to half the time, because it surprises me the people that makes up names to put on Facebook because they're too ashamed to say who they really are.
Yeah.
You know, so do they really live in the county? Or they just quacks outside the county? But anyhow, I enjoy working on the board, and I think we've got a lot of things to go through. We've made some accomplishments, and we've got a whole lot more to make. And I thank each and every one of the ones I serve on the board with, as well as the citizens in my district and the entire Nottoway County.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Tuff. All right, board members, the only thing I got is Ms. Norton and myself are going to be getting together as a personnel committee. We got some things we're going to start knocking some doors in with on the personnel policies and stuff like that. So that's going to be fun. It's just some more things that we're going to throw at y'all, and I know y'all, with y'all's committee, is going to be throwing them back at us. So, but again, and Mr. Toth, I resonate your sentiment there, sir. I appreciate all the work that's being done. Lot done, a lot to do, and a lot more surprises to come. But with that, I'll entertain them.
Yeah, we don't need any more surprises.
Entertain a motion.
He knows there's more to come.
Entertain a motion to adjourn.
I so move.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by standing up. Good meeting, folks.
Maybe you conjured up no surprise.
I gotta blow the horn because Ann's gonna wanna coming home at 8:30. What's going on here?